Hey, what's up, fam? For those who don't know, I'm a fan of RWBY. I've been following it since the original RWBY trailer came out years back, and I was happy to see Volume 6 come out. I was a little bit disappointed with a couple of the inconsistent areas and plot holes within Volume 5, but uh, I was still looking forward to Volume 6 because I like the series. I enjoy a lot of the characters and designs and stuff, and mostly this episode I want to give positive feedback on. So if you've never seen RWBY, RWBY's a really good example of a non from Japan series, like trying to do a anime style series, but it feels really good like it. It definitely feels like an anime, similar to something like uh, Avatar: The Last Airbender's show. Definitely like it feels like an anime, and so does RWBY. And something like The Dragon Prince, if you watch that yet on Netflix, but RWBY's enjoyable. I just, oh man, Volume 5 was such a mess. But getting to this, I want to start out with some normal positives. As usual, the animation looks better. They get better every single season. Like it got really good at the end of Volume 3, and then they changed like animation styles, and then it was kind of wonky in 4, and then obviously 5, now 6. It's gotten a lot better, and I think that's always really good. It looks a lot crisper. It looks more enjoyable than it did the last 2 volumes. So there's something there. We had some really cool fight scenes. The music was stellar the whole episode, and there was some cool actually parts with Blake. I've always said like out of the main 4, Blake is the only one I just don't really care for. I think a lot of the stuff that I find her interesting is because she's related to Adam, and Adam is awesome. And I'll get to Adam in a second, but the only thing like that kind of bothered me at the episode was her talking to, what is her name, Ela or whatever. That character, I think she's annoying. Like, I get it, you're a lesbian and you really want to hook up with Blake, but she likes dick. Just calm down, go find another lesbian. It's not a big deal. I don't like her character. I think Ela's design, weapon, personality, everything about her, I don't find it interesting. And I don't know, she's such a bland character. Even that Vernal chick who just she just looked like a dude with tits. At least she had a cool weapon. But anyway, I don't really care for that part with Blake, but the rest of the episode with Blake I thought was really good. Her whole interactions with Sun, I really like Sun. I hope he doesn't end up getting friend-zoned or killed off. I would like that. I'd like that ship to set sail between he and Blake. It's a nice thing. As well as with I was actually really happy because there's a part in the episode where Blake goes to cut one of the train cars from the other, and she has like a short like flashback kind of with when she did it in the when she separated from Blake, which I thought was really good, like a really cool character piece, just really quick, no needed dragging out of it. It's just like right there. If you remember what that was from and like what that's a reference to, then you'll get it. Like I thought that was really cool. I like that. I really like that reflecting of her character at that part. I thought that was pretty good, and it made me kind of like Blake a little bit more. Like starting out this volume, I'm all right with her. I'm she's like the only main cast that didn't bother me this episode, and kind of like relating to that, I was so happy to see the episode start like shortly into it. It was Adam going back to the this throne room and like all those white fang people talking shit, and then he just kills all of them, and there's just bodies all over the floor and blood splatter everywhere, and just looks really intense. That was like one of my biggest complaints of volume 5 was they made Adam look like a bitch, and he ran from like people he should have no problem just trashing. Like Yang is the strongest person within the team RWBY right now, like other than like maybe like Silver Eyes RWBY, but obviously she doesn't know how to use her power yet. But other than that, Yang would, if they got in a big fight, I'd say Yang would definitely come out on top. And Adam trashed her, so Adam should have no problem beating like Blake and crew. All he did was he got like sidestepped and then hit, and then he's like, oh no, her and a bunch of random no-name background characters want to fight me. I better pull out. And he had Hazel with him, so like I don't get how he just didn't like start cutting people down. But I was very happy to see they made him. They redeemed that moment from him for him in the show, and that was really good. But continuing from that is where I would say I had a big problem of the episode, and it's these two dudes that were hired like bodyguards for the train. I don't remember their names. They oh god, I'm not gonna look back and try to remember their names. Like their characters themselves weren't important. It was the stuff they did, and that's what really bothered me about the episode. Everything about these guys bothered me, and not them. It's how the other characters reacted to them, and that it was so annoying because the guys go up to them and they're like, "Hey, we are bodyguards for this train, you know, and for payment we'll give you we'll give a little bit more attentive like eye towards your train car in case something bad happens." So they're just doing their job. They're being a little bit shady about it, but nothing like criminal. They aren't being like, "If you don't pay us, then we're not gonna help you," kind of shit. It's just kind of like they're being a little shady, but nothing like bad. And then Team Ruby and Crow, they treat the guys like shit. They treat them like they're idiots and losers. Like I get it, you guys are probably stronger than them, but why are you looking down on them like that? You're demeaning the crap out of them. And it was just so weird to see them because they're not supposed to be like rude like that. Like especially Ruby. Ruby's like supposed to be really nice and like Weiss is polite. Like she can be, a bit bitchy, but she's generally pretty polite. And like I get Crow, but like they were all joining in, and it made them all look like assholes. And it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there at all. Once they got onto the train, and stuff started to get a little crazy, like Grim attacked. They end up going on top of the train, and this is where it also really bothered me because in the first few minutes of the episode, it cuts to like later in that fight. It cuts to it starts at the fight with on top of the train, and then it kind of cuts back to them getting on the train and stuff. But there's a part where Weiss almost falls off the train, and then Ruby like grabs her hand and then does her semblance thing where she turns into the rose petals and then spins and gets back on the train, like keeps up the train and then flies like back on it a little bit. And I was like, okay, cool. But I don't know why you had to spin back onto the train. You were already on the train, but whatever. It looked cool. And then it when you see the two bodyguard guys and they try and fight they try and fight the large Grim that shows up. It goes like it grabs one of the guys, swoops off the train, and he assumingly dies. And the other bodyguard guy's like, "Oh shit, my friend, no! Oh god!" He's like super broken up. Like I have this screenshot I put him there. You can see that there's concern. Like he's like, "Oh my god, my friend, no!" But then it's Ruby's team. They're like, "What's the plan?" And she's like, "Don't let anyone else die." They didn't care. There's no concern, no worry that they just watched some dude get carried off to his death. And they showed that Ruby could have just swooped down and saved him, like super easy. And like she's so fast, like she's faster than the train. They've shown her with it that she can create sonic booms, so she can travel faster than sound. Why is she not saving the guy? That everything about like interaction with those guys, it made me so mad this whole episode. It was so stupid. It just looked ridiculous. Nothing about it, I think, makes sense to their characters. Like the episode itself, there's a lot of good parts. The animation, like I said, the music, the fight scenes, kind of building up to where this arc is going to go, where this story is going to kind of center around. You got to see some conflict with the characters and some like development and whatnot. Like I like seeing John as he's slowly going to become Ultra Paladin, and it was so weird to see them treat these guys like crap. And they weren't like bad guys. They just sounded like they were guys who saw a bunch of cute girls and they wanted to go boast a little bit and maybe like try and flirt with them, if that. Otherwise, just do their business. And I'm so turned away by them treating these guys like trash and then treating them like the response of one of them dying being nothing. Like everything about that just it doesn't seem like it fits the characters at all. Like Crow would be like, "Oh shit, that sucks. That guy." Like Crow is kind of like a seasoned fighter. He knows like you can't save everybody. People die. Like what are you gonna do? But like Ruby and Co, like that shouldn't be a thing, especially when she has the ability to save them, and then shows her like in the episode that she could have done that. It was so dumb. Like I hated that part. I hated everything about that part. But enough with that, so I don't rant forever, because I could rant for a while with just that part because it bothered me so much. they had some really cool fights. I like the dynamic with some of the character like team up choreography, like Blake throwing her blade pistol, I don't remember what it's called, on the ribbon, and then Yang punches it to where it like wraps up the Grim, and they're able to hold it down, and then Weiss ices its wings and they shatter, and then the really cool like double uh, shot like blast sight spin between Ruby and Crow was awesome. I thought that was really cool. I thought that looked really good, and it was a really nice kind of further like lead up with the rest of the episode, and then kind of setting up to it. Also, yeah, the fucking I'm gonna pull back to those guys again. Is when Crow, like this dude broke his arm after he was on the side of a train and then it hit a wall. Like there's no way that his arm isn't like completely like the bone is shattered. There's no way it didn't pull the joint out of place. That dude's arm would be fucked if it wasn't for John being able to amplify the dude's aura so he heals way faster. But then like Crow is like hitting him against the wall, be like, told you to turn off the turrets," and then it's like, it's not even that dude's fault. He was doing his job, and you guys have an object that you say like that Ozpin and Oscar like, yeah, the Grimm are attracted to it. So like, shouldn't you apologize to that dude at the fact that potentially the Grimm only showed up in the first place because of you guys? Like there's a good couple chunks. The episode overall was enjoyable, but there's so many like little chunks in there that didn't need to be there, that or could have been handled so much better with like almost no difference, like no like crazy animation. Just like, how about we don't have these random two guys who aren't bad guys or like seem really evil at all? They just kind of seem like a little tiny bit douchey. How about we don't like have them be like super expendable and the characters not care when they die or like shatter their arms like hitting a fucking train tunnel wall. It was so ridiculous. But I look forward to the rest of the volume. It'd be pretty hard for them to do worse than Volume 5. And I don't know. Tell me what you think about the comment in the comments about this episode. Are you a fan of RWBY? Are you interested in it? Did you drop out at one point? You got to really watch. You got to be dedicated or watch the volumes like as an arc, because volume 1 through 3 is an arc, but like one is like set up, two is like, or one is like the introductory arc, two is like setup, and then three is like where all the good stuff happened, and then like four was like the fallout of volume three and like getting like everyone where they're at. Five was just big mess, and then this one, I'm assuming if they're doing 3 volume arcs, this will be like the conclusion to this arc, and it should be a really good. But otherwise, that's that for this video. Give me a thumbs up if you like this, if you found this enjoyable, if maybe you like this show, maybe you like the animation. Like it's a good show. Like the character designs are excellent. I really like all their personalities and a lot of their weapons and fighting styles. I think it's a good show. I just there's a good couple chunks that are should have been really easily avoidable, and especially when you have when the show's only out like 3 to 4 months out of the year, and the other 8 you're writing and animating and stuff. I feel like it'd be really easy to be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this to these characters, or at least make it so when one of them dies, the main cast, especially like RWBY, who's like innocent, pure of heart, would be like, oh shit, I should help that guy because I really want to help people. I'm a huntress. It's just it's a little bit wacky, and I didn't like that. But anyway, yeah, to give me a thumbs up if you like the video. I do mostly manga and anime stuff, so check out the rest of my content. Subscribe to the channel. Give me the thumbs up. Comment below and all that good stuff. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening.